Hello. Oh, exactly 12:05. Going
Look
live.
at that. Going live 12:05. Let's
This
check
is
in.
Together at Live. We're gonna do a sound test real quick.
We always do sound checks.
While you do that, I'm gonna fix my hair for a second. Sorry, guys. While you do that, I'm gonna fix my hair for a second.
Can you hear me too?
Sorry, guys. While you do that, I'm gonna fix my hair for a second.
Can you hear me too? Yep, we can hear it.
All right, sound check is good. Don't mind my appearance. We went for a long walk today before this, which it's finally warm enough out that we could go for a long walk and hopefully start running again. So this is the Together Out Loud podcast. If this is the first time joining us, I'm Samantha and
I'm Jason, the husband.
And we've been married for 10 years, over 10 years now, 10 years and some months. And we decided to start a podcast because we enjoy talking to each other all the time and we feel like we have great conversations. And so a lot of it is centered around relationships and parenting because we do have 3 babies as well. But a lot of it is also kind of our opinions and reactions on what's going on with the world today too, because that I think does affect relationships and traditional values and things like that we enjoy. So if you want to join in on the conversation, definitely feel free to comment and to hop on or ask to be a guest or what have you. We are very open-minded to hearing other people's opinions if you agree or disagree. And also you can email us at tolpodcast15@gmail.com if there's anything that you'd like to see us discuss or if you want to discuss with us. We go live on my personal TikTok page. We do have a Together Out Loud TikTok page, but we need to get 50 followers, guys. So it's at Together Out Loud. I think it's Together_Out Loud. But if you just search Together Out Loud, you'll find us. So if you enjoy watching us and want to
subscribe, please follow, please like.
We're also on YouTube, same thing, Together_Out Loud, and Instagram. Same with Instagram. I believe we need at least 100 followers on there to go live, but we enjoy going live on TikTok because then we can have people up and I think we just have more interaction, although Instagram we wouldn't be censored very much
as this. So because this one was censored. Pros and cons.
Yeah, so once we get a good following, we'll decide what we want to do regarding the lives. But what we do is we go live, then we record it, download it, and on Sundays it's up on YouTube and Spotify, and then we post clips throughout the week, which I still have clips from the week before too that I'll be posting up, and all kinds of clips that.
And a lot of it will be faith-based material.
Yeah.
A lot of marriage-based material, children, and even culture. We haven't really gotten into the culture yet because we've kind of like designed the way we're going. We've made a pattern. We've created a pattern to go in. And as we continue, I mean, eventually we're going to just start getting, and we always go off on tangents anyway. Once something reminds us of something.
But to recap,
but eventually we'll just be touching on lots of different things, and also we want to include you guys in on this. So we want you guys to bring up things that you want to talk about. And another main reason I like brought this, like I wanted to start doing this, is because like, for instance, like the show The Last of Us, I don't really know anybody that I can talk to about The Last of Us. So that would be like an example of something that I would like to share with other people and get their opinions and like have like a big conversation about it, which she has watched it with me. So she and I will talk about it together, but I'd like to get other people's opinions, preferably like opposite side of the spectrum, just because like I know some people probably, I mean, like I hated it in the beginning and then ended up coming to love it. But that's just like an example of some of the things we may end up talking about on this podcast.
Yeah, which
I don't know if you wanted to cover what we went over.
Yeah, I was going to say real quick, he writes down notes all the time about what he wants to.
Yeah, so it'll be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, and I'm going to start doing that too because we kind of, when we're starting out, we do have notes here of what we wanted to talk about for each episode, but as we get down to it, we're gonna kind of just start talking about current events and things like that. And again, anything that anybody else wants to talk about. But last week we discussed gentle.
And sorry, if you see us on YouTube or Spotify, please subscribe. That helps as well. And we also want to be the first. We want to be the first podcast that interacts with their fans directly. Like at some point, once we start getting like 100 followers, 1,000 followers, so on and so forth, we eventually want to get to a point where we're interviewing you guys and we're bringing you guys up and we're hearing your stories, because I personally find it interesting. I just like hearing everybody's different stories. Like I love listening to Theo because he'll bring people on. And like, for instance, he just had a guy who's a jockey. And like, I don't know anything about being a horse jockey. Like, why not? I love that. Joe Rogan does the same thing, just bringing up random people. But I like the fact of being able to bring up fans, because, you know, a lot of you guys are going to have things that happen in your life and things that go on in your life that nobody knows about. So share your story, you know?
And we also want this to be like an outlet, a positive outlet for people as well, because we mentioned how like men's mental health, maybe men aren't as comfortable with opening up and things like that. And also like if he talks about something and I can't really relate because it's like a man thing or vice versa, it's nice.
And happy Valentine's Day, everyone.
Yeah, Jesus is my Valentine.
And I got some red on here. That's the red for Valentine's Day. And it says that evil never looked this good. Because I'll be looking good on Valentine's Day. But
every day.
We're just going to go into, so what we went over a little bit in the last episode was, we went a little bit over our disciplining philosophies with disciplining our children. We covered a little bit on screens, chores, and routines. And again, remember, you can go back on YouTube, you can go back on Spotify, and you can watch these past episodes. This is episode 8. Mm-hmm. And you can go back, you can watch 6, 5, 4. I think 3 was the one we had a bunch of difficulty with our sound. So if you watch 3, it's kind of choppy. And then we also touched a little bit on raising kids with grit and confidence.
Mm-hmm. And then, so it kind of is related to what we're going to talk about.
I'm going to try not to interrupt you as much as well, because when I listened to the podcast, I was like, man, I really interrupt her a lot. But it's because my wheels get turning so fast, and I'm like, if I don't say it right away, I'm going to forget. But go ahead. Sorry. As I interrupt you, I'm going to stop interrupting you. Hey, wait. I'm going to interrupt you by telling you. I'm going to try
really, really hard.
I'm not going to interrupt you as much.
It kind of goes into today's topic, which is raising kids with strong values in a wild culture, which we have so much to say about the culture, but we will try to stay focused. So we're going to go through, first, teaching responsibility, self-control, and respect. How did I always like to kind of ask how did your parents do this, and not to like always go back to our parents or to judge our parents' parenting styles or whatnot.
But that's the only real.
It's not. It's interesting for me to see, like, do we do things the same? Do we do things different? And that's why I kind of like to start out like that. So like, how did your parents kind of teach you responsibility, self-control, and respect?
And that's the only real outline that we have, whether they did good or bad.
Right.
And while I'm talking, if you want, you can send some invites as well.
Okay.
You should always start out with invites and then maybe halfway through send some more invites, just because, just in case people want it. That one's your arrow. Yep. Yours usually has a face on it, but this time it doesn't. But you can send it to like 15 people at a time. Sorry, I know you guys are probably like, they're just like talking about sending invites to people.
Yeah, because I don't know how to do
so my parents, as far as responsibility, this is a tough one, because I didn't really get talked to a lot. I didn't have a whole lot of teaching moments that I know of, and that's not an insult at my mom or my dad. I can't really. I genuinely can't. I really can't even think of moments where I was taught stuff like this. Like, I feel like when it comes to like cleanliness, let's take that as an example of responsibility, keeping my room clean. Mm-hmm. I shared a room with my older brother, and he was a slob. So I don't even remember like my mom and my dad saying, you need to keep your room clean and you need to make your bed and you need to do anything. I think mine was more, I think I've learned a lot in my life, because now that I think about it, even with my dad, I think I've learned a lot from opposite retrospection and reflection of like what people are doing, and the opposite of what they're doing, like learning against the grain, so to speak, because my brother was a complete slob. Sorry, Xavier. But he would like eat off dishes. And then because he was lazy and he didn't want to bring them down to the kitchen, he'd throw them in like a dresser drawer.
Oof.
And like I would have to clean up after him. And I would just sweep stuff under his bed, which actually makes me think of like if I ever brought a girl over, that's what I would do. I would just like sweep stuff underneath his bed. And that was my way of cleaning. And my mom, I remember my mom yelled at me once about that because she was like, "That's not cleaning. You're just stuffing stuff underneath the bed." And my brother's so funny because he was like, "I don't care if he shoves it on his bed." Because like I would expect that like he would be upset because he can't find anything or anything like that. But he was like, "Oh, I don't care," like because he kind of felt like, "Well, I don't have to clean it, so shove it all under the bed for all I care." What about you?
Responsibility. Okay, so I'm the youngest, and if you ask my middle sister, she would probably say that I was spoiled. I do remember a specific time when I was about 4 years old. My mom did teach me to like do chores because my sisters had to do dishes, and I remember my job was to put the silverware away. But they were like yell if my mom would be lax on me not doing it. They would get upset, and I remember in high school my mom would go in and make my bed, and I would get really kind of annoyed because I felt bad because I'm like, I don't expect you to do that. Why don't you just leave my bed alone? But like, it's because she didn't like seeing walking by and seeing an unmade bed. So I wasn't really taught responsibility either because my mom just did everything, and I don't. Now that I'm a mom, God bless my mom for doing it. Because I don't know how she like did it. Like, because she worked full time. Sometimes she worked two jobs. Um, I don't remember how it was when we were really little, but I remember like when I was the only one in the house, she would just do it. I didn't have any chores or anything like that, but I would pick up after myself at least. But yeah, I kind of, I guess I would say spoiled because I want to teach the kids young um, to have responsibility and kind of just to take pride in their work, whether it's taking care of the house. Because ideally, it would be nice if our daughter got to be like a stay-at-home mom and homemaker. That would be my
That'd be
ideal
cool.
dream for her. Um,
Find a nice farm boy.
yeah,
Find a
yep.
nice farm boy.
So that would be like my dream for her because that would be that would have been that would have been my dream. But so even teaching them, huh?
I said, but she didn't find that.
That's okay. I got a strong working man here. Not a farm boy, but
although I work on farms. I've worked on
yeah,
farms.
yeah.
So deliver to farms.
But also I want the boys to learn too, because if they don't find somebody right off the bat once they're like adults and out of the house, I want them to be able to take care of themselves. What does that look for?
I'm just making faces.
Oh. Is that how you stop yourself from interrupting me?
No, I was just being goofy. Just being goofy. Just trying to keep it interesting.
I want them to be able to take care of themselves too. So like I enjoy that both the boys want to help me cook and stuff. So that's how I teach responsibility.
I wanted to touch a little bit on self-control. I don't have any. Well, I've got better self-control now, but back then I didn't because I feel like monkey see, monkey do, and nobody in my family had self-control. Everybody was just like a ball of anger waiting to explode. That was my household. Very volatile, very just everybody always angry. Just imagine a household where everybody's always angry. And that was our household. Like you're like, oh man, I can really imagine this guy's upbringing. Now, I'm not saying that we didn't love each other, just that nobody really knew how to express their anger properly. And I think that's because my dad constantly was just swearing and yelling. That was his outlet. And I think also like I might have learned a lot from my dad when it comes to the lack of self-control because of the fact that like I can blow up over things that are really small and trivial. And I think that he did that a lot. Like but see, I'm not as bad as him because he would immediately react with insults, like insulting us. And although I have done that sometimes, like making things seem as though it's our fault. I've never done it with the kids though. And I don't think I've done it with you either, but I've done it with like yelling about other stuff that like has nothing to do with it.
Or
But
maybe being upset at something and then like bringing that. It's really like a lot of times about work, previous work. You're pretty happy in your job
yeah,
now,
and I'm pretty
but
happy when I'm home.
yeah,
There's not a whole lot that goes
yeah,
on around the house other than when I redid our bedroom and I was hanging drywall and I used the cheese grater thingy to try to get the edge. There was one edge that wouldn't pop into place, so I'm trying to get this edge to shrink down a little bit so that it'll pop into place. And I'm like pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, and finally it just snapped. The corner just snapped, and I lost it. I just started pounding holes in it with a hammer, and
and he texts me while I'm at work.
and I texted her. And then when she got home, like there was a bunch of stuff all over the floor because I pounded holes in it with a hammer. I fixed it. I fixed it. I drywalled the holes. I patched up the holes, and it looks good. Turned out good. But I was just upset at that time. But so that's something that happens if I like lose self control. But I've gotten a lot better with it, better at controlling it. And as far as like respect goes, I respected my parents through fear, and I think that from my childhood, growing up and respecting them through fear. And also, I apologize, guys, if I sound like a little raspy. I got some congestion and some soreness between the nose and the throat
We'll
there,
have to
and
take.
I
that.
can't because that has calories, I believe, doesn't it?
Oh, I don't know. I have to look.
But remind me
We're
tomorrow
doing our
so I can
48
take it.
hour
We're doing our
fast
48-hour fast,
once a
so
month.
so yeah, we do that once every month, second weekend of every month. But so if I sound a little raspy or anything like that, it's because I am getting some soreness and some drainage there between the nose and the throat. But to go back into what I was saying about respect, I respect it out of fear, and I don't want my children to respect me out of fear, and I don't respect anyone else really out of fear. Like I do believe respect is earned. You have to earn respect. So and I think that especially like this might go back into our topic from the last episode. I think that traditionally we were raised to just show respect to your parents no matter what. You're kind of big on that. And I don't mean that as an insult either. You're just big on like, no, that's the adult. You show respect no matter what. Where me, I look at it more along the lines of like, no. I want to make myself a respectable adult that you can respect because I've formed myself into someone who is deserving of respect rather than I'm the adult, you should respect me. Because sometimes I feel like that's a power dynamic, and I don't think power dynamics work in any kind of relationship, even if it's parent to child.
That's a good point. Yeah, regarding my self control, mine wasn't really a household of like anger. It was a very passive household. I think both my parents were very passive, but I think the problem with that, which I mentioned, I believe I mentioned that. I don't know if it was the last episode or an episode when we talked about resolving conflict. I don't think it's healthy to try to hide conflict. Um, so I think that was an issue. And so my self control is that, like, I think it was very much of kids should be seen and not heard, at least with our extended family, too, because our extended family, aunts and uncles and stuff, were very close, at least on my dad's side. So it was one of those where I just like shrunk because um, I didn't feel like my whatever anything I had to say was important. So I just kind of learned to not say anything. But now, as an adult, that becomes an issue because I will still I'm used to like stuffing it all inside and just keeping quiet, and then a little thing will cause anxiety. I think a lot of my anger comes out in anxiety and lack of control. Do you agree with
Yeah,
that?
I'm laughing because like yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I
She
think
doesn't like touch on things and then all of a sudden
it's
like it
like every and
explodes
you're like,
and I'm just like
where'd that come from?
we could have just easily had a conversation about
So
this. I didn't know
I'm
this was happening.
very I'm working on that. It takes a while. So like self control also comes with self regulation, regulating your emotions, and I had
Yes,
absolutely
that is the truth.
no lessons on how to regulate my emotions at all because I felt like my emotions were people appeared to be impatient regarding my emotions, so I felt like a burden if I showed emotion. Respect. Yes, exactly what he said. Like I'm one of those where like you need to respect But I agree with that. You should be an adult who deserves respect. Um, and again, I don't know where it came from. It wasn't really fear of like getting in trouble. It was fear of being shamed
And I
about
used to be like
something.
that too, actually. If I
Yeah.
can chime in, I used to be like that too, but mine was more taught from the church because the church is really big on like women should stay quiet and just stay
Yeah.
in the background, and kids shouldn't talk, and kids should be respectful, blah blah blah. But I've just over my time being alive on this earth is where I've grown into believing like no no no, you need to earn respect. It's not just given, it's earned.
Sorry,
And
I'm
I
just
think we've
throwing a
actually
loaded.
spoken about that before.
Yeah, and also my
Cat butt.
when were like, "Oh, you need to
Sorry.
earn my
Sorry for the cat
respect."
butt, guys.
I'm kind of the opposite where it comes to respect and trust, where like I'll give you my trust and respect right
And
off
you
the
can lose
bat,
it.
and you can lose
Okay,
it.
I see.
Yes, and so
I just, for me personally, I want to be somebody that someone respects.
and I
I don't want
agree.
the kids to just respect me like
Just like him.
I wouldn't act like my dad and then expect that I'm deserving of respect, of any kind of
Yeah, yeah,
respect.
and
Like
that
no job, just lay around and play video games and be like, well, you should respect me just because
yeah.
I'm the dad. You know,
No, it
that's not the way it works for me.
yeah, and that and I don't know how to explain that to the kids either because yeah, I don't. You gotta have self respect too. I don't expect them to respect somebody who has no self respect. Like, so, and no offense to your dad, I don't think he had very much self respect because he didn't have goals that he worked on to achieve. And so, like, you need to have self
Yeah, I
respect.
think
If
that part was part of the problem too. The fact that he didn't have goals or
yeah,
anything to work towards.
but I recently read something and it was interesting to me about how like kind of getting envious of kids who seem to always be obedient and quiet and listening to their parents where your kids are like crazy
Yeah, because
nutso.
sometimes you do see those kids out there, and you're
Yeah,
like, wow, how do they get them that well
but
behaved?
the thing that I read was like, oh, they may just like us. We were like respected and quiet out of some type of fear, or don't want to be um, have anybody disappointed us or have that shame. So like it's one of those where like if your kids are going crazy and are comfortable with you, um, that's a good thing. Which it reminded me of Lennox lately. He's been very brave, and I am proud and envious of this. He's been very brave with like telling us exactly something that is bothering, like that
Yeah,
bothers
because last
me.
night I upset him. I made a
Yes.
little joke about I was gonna make Kiefer eat the trash. So they're putting trash that goes in the kitchen in the bathroom, and we're like, "That's for bathroom trash. That's not for kitchen trash." And I was like, if you do this again, I'm gonna make you eat the trash." So I was making a joke with him with the box of trash, and I was like, "Eat the trash." But Kiefer knows I'm joking. But Lennox got super upset about it, and he was like, "It's not funny." So I appreciate that though because he's
Yeah.
just very vocal about like, "Listen, I don't find it amusing." And that's the only way we can change open communication. We'll go back to
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
We pounded it. We pound that open communication in there. Sorry, I
But
didn't mean to interrupt.
no, that's okay. So like when he like his Lennox and I will like go at it back and forth. But it was funny the other night. Raina was like, "Mom," because I always tell him at night, "I love you and I'm proud of you and happy to be your mom." And so after I said that to them this particular night, he's like, "Mom, I love you even if we argue because we will go at it." And it's because of the fact that like you've said before, you don't want to squash that. You don't want to stop him from doing that because you don't want him to be afraid to not speak his
Yeah, you
mind.
need brave people.
And so like that's where I think of when I get frustrated and stuff like that. But again, I read somewhere else, see I'm learning stuff where when somebody feels like the way I feel disrespected when a kid is yelling and stuff, it's because like you didn't know how to you were not taught emotional regulation growing up. And that's one of the signs when you feel disrespected. So like I'm trying to learn and be like, okay, like I don't want to also silence him because I'm always afraid to say what's bothering me and how I feel, and I don't want him to be like that. So um I love that he's comfortable with doing that. Like he's comfortable without um being afraid of how somebody's going to react to that. So I think that's very important.
And I'm going to toot our horn here a little bit. I think we're doing a great job with all three of these for our children: responsibility, self-control, respect. Because I think that they're recognizing our growth as well.
Uh-huh.
Like we teach it to them, but we also are showing them growth as well. And I honestly, in my opinion, think that showing that you're an imperfect parent and showing that you're an imperfect person actually helps your children rather than hinders them, because they can see like, wow, it's all about growth and it's all about progress and it's all about being open in your communication of your flaws and the things that are wrong with you and that maybe hinder you yourself. So I think that helps because they see you grow, they see you face things, they see you take things on. Responsibility, we do that through just like giving them things to do. She's always giving them goals. And actually I wrote a note down, which I'm going to mention that right now actually, is kids love lists. Kids love lists. I wrote it down somewhere here because Kemper is always, our youngest, our daughter is always asking, and this is funny because you would imagine that they wouldn't. And the reason I say you would imagine that they don't and that they wouldn't is because kids will also complain. Kids will complain when you give them a responsibility and when you give them something to do. But the funny thing is while they complain, they also love responsibility. So it's kind of like an oxymoron, catch-22. I don't know if I used catch-22 properly there, but and it's definitely an oxymoron because it's opposite. Like, how can they like it and dislike it at the same time? But she will ask her because like, oh, we finished our list. And it's because she talks about this often. It's because you're giving them a goal to achieve. So they reach that goal, they get that dopamine hit and they get excited because it's like, wow, look at my list. My list grew shorter and I'm getting things done off of my list. So that's one way that teaches them responsibility. And they definitely like it because she wouldn't keep asking if she didn't like it, even if they complain. So keep that in mind even through the complaints.
Yeah, because I noticed, and I told him when he wanted to talk about that, it's funny because if I give her something to do that she has to do by herself, which, for example, putting her clothes away.
Or eating dinner.
Or, she will whine and complain and moan and cry throughout the whole time.
I say eating dinner because she'll be like, can you feed me?
And she'll like put off putting her clothes away forever. But if I'm doing something, she's like, Mom, can I help you sweep? Can I help you mop? Can I help you? Like, she's such a helper.
They all want to be helpful.
And I was like,
and I think like you having the boys cook actually helps with that too.
Yeah.
Because now the boys are like Lennox sees Kiefer cooking because she'll let Kiefer pick a meal out and actually cook the meal himself. And Lennox sees that. So now Lennox, like when she's out here cooking, if he's available, if he's around, like he's like chiming in, like, can I do this? Can I do that? So there's another thing, guys, just like get them involved. Definitely keep them involved. Keep yourself involved in their lives and keep them involved in your life.
Which their wives will be very thankful someday.
Yes, because they'll cook and stuff too, which like I said, I cook out on the grill and stuff, but
I know, I cannot wait.
Actually, speaking of cooking, we'll talk about an incident when the first dinner I ever cooked. So you have to wear gloves when you chop up jalapenos, guys, just for future reference.
Don't put your finger in your eye.
Yeah. So I was cooking her, it was like a chicken Alfredo, but she likes a little bit spicy. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to add a jalapeno to it. Just a little bit, just to give it a tiny kick, not like anything that's going to like kill the flavor of the chicken Alfredo. But because I know there might be some Italian or something on here that's like, oh, jalapenos and chicken Alfredo. It's a mia, no Mario, no jalapeno. Yeah, I was a terrible Italian. Anyways.
We love Italians. We're not making fun.
Yeah. Anyways, doesn't matter. But so I was like, I'm going to cook this for her and I'm making it and it's turning out good and everything's going well. And I cut up the jalapenos. I wash my hands in Dawn and I'm cooking, whatever. My eye itches. I itch my eye and I'm like, oh man, my eye's on fire. Ah! So my eye literally is on fire. Like I'm like, ow. So I'm upstairs. Contacts? I ran up. Yeah, I wear contacts. I run upstairs and I take the contact out. And I'm like, I don't know why my eye's burning because I completely dismissed that it was the jalapeno because I washed my hands. So I was like, there's no way this is the jalapeno. Now, also remember, this is the first dinner I ever cooked. This was back in dating time. I cooked dinner while she was at work. I was like, I'll have dinner ready for her for when she gets home.
It was a complete surprise.
And so I'm upstairs and I'm like, well, I don't want one contact in because then I'm going to have blurry vision. So I take what do? I take the other contact out.
Yeah,
So now that eye's burning as well. Snot, mucus, saliva everywhere, because I don't know if you've ever gotten like burning and stuff in there, or if you eat spicy stuff, you'll notice it clears all those sinuses out nicely. So there's blah, blah, like everything's coming out all over the place. And I'm swollen. My face is now swollen because of all the heat and stuff. And I come down and she comes home and from work.
Oh, he had the long candles too.
Like, yeah, I had some candles set up and ready and stuff. But she thought it was the funniest thing because she's like, "What? Are you okay?"
I was like, "What is happening?"
I was like, "Oh no, the video in my eye."
He's like, "I was trying to surprise you, but I
stuck my I was trying to be all romantic and stuff, but it didn't work out. But also, on a side note, best sleep I've ever gotten in my whole life. So that's weird. Like, oh my word, I slept like a dream, like just right out. Slept the whole night, woke up, I was like, man, I feel incredible. I need to get that drain. I need to drain that all out more often, I guess. But it's a little funny story.
Yeah, another time he made venison meatloaf too, and he has no clue exactly what he put in it.
Greatest meatloaf ever.
It was the best meatloaf ever.
It was the best. Oh, it was so good.
That was
it was moist, and it was 3 cheese. I remember it being 3 cheese. But like the topping was good, was delicious,
and I
couldn't remember any of it. Couldn't replicate it. That's why. So if you guys have any good recipes and stuff, write them down.
Sorry, but Idris is always up.
Yeah, he's always up here when we come and do this.
Come down here.
But so that was just a little side note of cooking, because we mentioned cooking with the kids. But they'll have some very happy lives because they won't be afraid to cook. Because I mean, and I'm okay at it here and there. Like I can make a mean bowl of cereal. I can cook up some. My cooking was good though. It was good.
It was good. And when I say, honey, I don't feel like cooking tonight, he's like, oh, say no more, fam. I'll order food for us.
Yeah, we'll order out, or like a lot of times when I'll cook out on the grill if you don't want to cook. Oh yeah, sweet. Hey, wait till I get home and I'll cook out on the grill. I cannot
wait.
But I can't wait either. That's my favorite. That's some of my favorite times is steak times. Yeah. Because we're hungry. 48-hour fast. We're hungry. So I don't know so that was a little bit on the responsibility, teaching the kids that. Self-control is just, again, I learned from monkey see, monkey do. They're learning the same way. So if they see you overreact or get out of control, they will react the same way. But also they will notice if you can control your emotions and handle things in a mature manner, every now and then they'll start to notice that. And our kids, Lennox especially, is really good at this. They will catch us when we're getting emotional or out of control.
And he'll be like, hey, everything's okay.
Yeah, everything's okay. Everything's all right.
Like, he does really great with that. Kemper does really well. I taught her, like, let's take a deep breath. Or even like, I don't want to completely dismiss them crying or having to freak out or whatever, because again, I don't want them to be like me where I like stuff everything inside and then explode over something stupid. But I like give them like, you cry about it. Okay. Crying's not going to fix it. So what is going to fix it? Or give yourself a timeout. Which just the other day, she was freaking out about something. And she's like, Mom, I went upstairs to my room and gave myself a short timeout. I'm okay now. Which we touched base on that too, about timeouts. But yeah, deep breathing, like take a deep breath. I will actually do it with her when she's freaking out. And that calms her down.
Sorry. I get spammed so many times and then it pops up on my watch.
But their emotional regulation and self-control it's way better than mine.
Mine too.
And they like,
but that's what you want too, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Because we're trying to raise our kids to be better people than us.
And we always say too, like, okay, we'll turn it around. And like they actually today on the walk.
On the walk, yeah, I mentioned to them, I was like, you guys have been doing really well with turning it around, because Lennox was upset about, what was he upset about on the walk?
I can't remember.
Can't even remember. But he like turned it around super quick. That's how quick he turned it around. But they're so quick that we can't even remember what he was upset about.
Because I don't want them to like be stuck in the negative, because I would be stuck in the negative. And well, you grew up in like a pretty negative environment, so like I don't want that to be their norm. I want their norm to be like,
and it's gonna be difficult in this wild culture, as we said earlier. It's gonna be it's difficult to raise kids in the world that we have nowadays with technology and everybody being so far apart. And we can actually even bring Kova into this
Yeah. Oh yeah.
with Kova and being isolated, being kept away from each other, 6 feet apart, wearing masks, all of that, like that all affects all of it. And they say that like a lot of kids like struggled with like learning and things because of the fact that
Communication.
communication, because of the fact that, we're so used to, you don't realize this, but children learn a lot from facial expressions,
Mhm.
mouth movement, seeing the way the mouth moves in order to be able to pronounce the words properly. And this is all statistic. You can look it up on your own and find that everything I'm saying is true, that the children are struggling, and especially with like language, stuff like that, because they weren't able to see your face to express emotion and see your mouth to figure out how to, move your mouth around to shape those words, to shape the words. So
One good thing that may have come out of at least the Rona babies, the babies that were born in 2020 and kind of were in growing up in
I
it.
like Kova better.
Yeah, Kova.
Kova.
Um, was our daughter's kindergarten teacher. He taught fourth grade last year, and he was like, "Man, the kids in kindergarten emotionally are they're more emotionally mature than the fourth graders," and he's like surprised by that. And I'm wondering if it's because like
Those
we
fourth
were
graders are
also,
really in the heat of it. The fourth graders were
yeah,
really in the heat of it.
well, and also they were already in school. They had to change. They kind of like had to be a little bit independent regarding like online schooling and stuff. Whereas like the babies, we were either already home with them after we had them, or we were home if you weren't what was it? What were they called? Essential workers,
Or
which
hybrid.
we were essential workers. So maybe they had more one-on-one time with their parents, and so maybe their parents taught them good emotional maturity or
Emotional
whatever.
regulation.
I don't know how to explain that one. I found that interesting that he said that, which he found it interesting too. Um, so, uh, sorry, his fur's making me itch. Um, the
That's
isolation.
because as she pats him, all of his furs stirring up in
Yeah,
the dust and
the danter,
dander,
the
danter, the
the
danter,
danter.
banter, Mifflin banter.
But this wild culture. The reason why I wrote a note about Kova and this wild culture and isolation is it was prime time for people for kids to get on the internet. Their internet
Yeah,
usage was not as
regulated.
regulated as maybe it would have been, and so they kind of were brainwashed or manipulated into these certain um,
Groups.
groups where they felt like they didn't belong because they couldn't socialize with their friends, they couldn't socialize normally.
So they're willing to
So
just
that
go to be social with
yeah, and
anybody they
so
can, anybody
yeah,
that
and
will
so
accept
they
them.
get manipulated into being like, oh well, maybe I'm trans, for example. Sorry to the trans people, but I feel like that was a prime time of people who didn't feel like they belonged. And so they kind of got brainwashed into thinking, oh, well, maybe I'm supposed to be.
Which for me, trans, I don't care. Do whatever you want when you're 18, when you're an adult.
Yeah, well, I just feel like that was a prime time. That's when it really kind of escalated. So I just felt like the internet and social media and all that, it was just like a perfect storm to make society go even crazier than what it was. And
And the evidence even that speaks on that, all because we were just talking about this yesterday. Growing up, I used to buy, like when I got in my 20s and stuff, I used to buy a movie, 2 movies, 3 movies every week. That's how great the movies were coming out. And now it's just like all of the propaganda is pushed so
yeah,
hard into every movie we get that I'm like, this
it,
is boring. This stinks. This sucks. This is the worst. So like I'm lucky if I can get a movie a week. Which, by the way, we just watched Primate last night.
Which
That
was
was a
awesome.
great movie.
Yeah.
Way more gory than I was
Yeah.
expecting it to be. So if you guys watch Primate, just be prepared.
Cautious, yeah.
Yeah, because it is definitely, it's got some gore to it.
And
But it was
like
nice
original.
to watch. It was nice to watch. It was original. There wasn't any weird propaganda thrown into it. That was nice. Because that's the thing too. And I don't care about the propaganda. It's just like when you see it with every single thing. And that's why like we really emphasize with our children to get them to think independently.
Yeah.
Like Lennox, we're not going to name the kid's name, but he had a guy who came up to him in his class in third grade that was like, I like you as a boyfriend. I want you to be my boyfriend. In third grade.
Yeah.
What are we doing? Like, you shouldn't even be thinking about stuff like that in third grade. Sorry, I went off on a tangent.
No,
there,
that's true. Because my thing is like, okay, which I'm super happy that we have this in common. We're huge movie buffs. We love movies. We love, like, on the weekends
And
we're
shows.
watching. Yes, and we're watching movies with the kids. Like, that is like a family time for us. And in my mind, it's like it's supposed to be like an escape. So it's just supposed to be entertainment. It's just supposed to be entertainment. So when you get movies that have these random that don't even make sense to the plot. What's that movie with Pete Davidson?
Oh, bodies.
Bodies. The
twist was a little. The twist was a little.
The twist was good. It would have been like I was enjoying it. It was kind of hokey, so I was enjoying it as a hokey movie. Like I wasn't taking it too seriously. Randomly out of nowhere, as they think that there's a killer amongst them, they get into this like wokey speech. I can't remember the speech.
Oh yeah,
about.
It was like
I just
a monologue.
remember it was like so.
It was so bad. It was like 5 minutes long. It was 5 minutes long of. That's fine. It was 5 minutes long of her just like whoa.
Yeah.
But I did like some of the surprising parts, like Lee Pace, their character.
Yes,
which, by the way, speaking of in the last episode, that's who we were thinking of. That's homosexual that we were shocked by, Lee Pace, because he's like tall too. He's like 6'5"
tall and
something.
cute. And if you've never seen Pushing Daisies, watch Pushing Daisies. It's only one season and it ends on a cliffhanger, which you're not gonna like. But I heard that they're gonna try to remake it. Sorry, that was a tangent, but Pushing Daisies.
We go off on these tirades. That's okay. I love it. But that's why we really emphasize getting our kids to think independently. Because like I said, he had that friend that came up to him and I was like, what? But we don't freak out over it either. Like, we're not like, oh, bully him or anything like that, because that's not what we want either. We just explain to him, like, listen, for one, you're way too young to be thinking about any of that stuff. So explain that to him. And two, also openly be like, no, we're boys. We're supposed to date girls. That's fine.
Yeah.
You can say that to people. Like, but that's the thing is like they've made it where it's like, no, you shouldn't be saying things like that. You should just naturally let them flow and become whatever they want to be. So that's why independent thinking is so important in children, because they are very easily influenced. And that is the danger with all of this trans and all the other stuff. And I don't care. We might get flagged for this. And I really don't care, because this is genuinely my opinion. You can think whatever you want. I don't care what you think either. If you want to be okay with it, I'm fine with that. But don't push it onto my kids. Don't push it into the school. Don't push it into the movies and the television shows. It's just like, that's not where any of this is meant to be. Like I don't want my child to be raised like fluid, let them do whatever they want, and then all of a sudden they are a drug dealer or something. I don't know. They can become one of a gazillion things, and they could still turn out like that even with me raising them the way that I am. I understand that as well, but because they're easily manipulated, it's just not right. It's not the right thing to do to influence them with things that aren't positive and aren't going to help them.
Well, I also feel like it's not very fair to punish somebody who out of ignorance. And what I mean by that, we'll just talk about trans, for example, since we're on that topic. If a person appears as a woman, so you say she, because that is the proper pronoun for a woman in the English language. I don't think you should be outraged or have them
offended.
Like legally in trouble if you're like, now it's Zeezer, he, him,
or whatever it
fish is, or whatever. Like, okay, that's fine, but I'm not going to like promote. I'm not going to just be like, that's normal, because I'm also not gonna just like feed into a
Yes.
schizophrenic's illusions either. Like I'm not gonna be like, "Oh, yeah, you're right. There is a giant gumbo guy standing there
Yeah, and
talking to
that's same with
you."
the bathroom issue. Everybody talks about that. Like, I'm like, if you are a man and you've transitioned into a woman enough to convince me you're a woman, use the women's bathroom. I don't care.
Yeah, because
Me, genuinely, I don't care. Because if I see you and I'm convinced you're a woman, I'm not thinking you're a dude anyway.
well,
And hopefully you're not like, hey, by the way, I'm a dude.
yeah, I don't care. Like, okay, well,
And
yeah,
and
that's
vice
what.
versa.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, if
yeah,
you
yeah.
can convince someone aesthetically that you are the opposite gender, then use it. Just don't bring it up.
Yeah, and my other thing also is like I'm gonna be looking into the bathroom before my kid goes in there anyway, or they're not gonna be going in there by themselves. Like if I'm out with the boys without him, the boys are coming into the women's bathroom with me. Like they're
Yeah.
not going in there by themselves unless I check and be like, "There's nobody in there."
Which that's off on another whole other tangent,
Yeah, 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 yeah. But
but I
so
just
it's
wanted to
not.
touch on that
Yeah,
just because it makes me laugh because that's and because there are also Christians and conservatives and stuff like that that will be like, no, 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 by no means should you ever use this restroom. I'm just not one of those people. Like I'm like, if you can convince me aesthetically, by all means, I don't care. Now, would I be upset if you never mentioned it and like my son ends up marrying someone who did that? That yeah, I would be upset. And the reason is because when it comes to like a relationship, personal relationship, yeah, you should be open and you should be honest. But like the stranger at the bathroom doesn't need to know anything about your gender or snacks.
yeah,
They don't need to know any of that stuff. Just keep it to yourself. And that's also how it's just become this whole identity. Like I don't this is weird. I don't go up to every person I see and just go, "Hey, what's up? My name's Jason, heterosexual, bro.
and
Banging women. That's all I do.
I'm a dude.
Bang
He
women.
him.
Dude bangs women. Just call me dude bangs women."
Yeah, just
Like
be
it's
like,
just
"I'm
silly to
Jason."
me.
Yeah.
Like I don't. I just or like can I just can't imagine like I'm in a boardroom with a bunch of dudes and I'm just like, hey, before we get this started, Jason bangs women. That's what I identify as, and people are like, okay, this has nothing to do with that. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I don't care about work. You know why? I bang women, and I'm a dude, bro. I know I'm being silly, but go ahead.
It's true, yeah, and there's too much.
That's not. It's not an identity.
No, it's too much emphasis on it, and that goes into a wild culture of people being outraged over everything, everything. Like this week, it was the
What's up,
Super
Dan? Thank
Bowl.
you for joining.
It was the Super Bowl halftime show, which people are
And
outraged
everybody's outraged
about
about
Bad
that
Bunny.
too.
I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish.
Yeah,
My
I
kids
don't
don't
either.
speak
Who
Spanish.
cares?
I get it. Like there are kids out there who do speak Spanish and would understand whatever his lyrics were, which were, I guess, explicit and gross. But we didn't even watch it. Our kids don't watch it. It's like going back to like negative and people allowing the negativity weigh on them. Man, negativity is like physically weighing to me. So if I can teach the kids to be positive and not care and to like love somebody, like you can love somebody and or again respect somebody without while disagreeing with them. So the kid, like I try to explain that to our son when the boy said that he liked him as a boyfriend, and I try to explain to him like you guys are too young to like know really what that means and what those feelings are, and like you could just like respectfully be like I like girls and I want to be friends with you, or even just like
Yeah, the truth.
you
The
don't have to
truth.
like you don't have to be like ew or anything like that. You can just explain it. Yeah, just explain it without being judgmental. And you going back to like some Christians, that's the problem that people have with Christians because they feel like they're hypocritical, and I feel the same. I'm a Christian, but like those Christians are kind of hypocritical because Jesus wants you to love everybody.
But
He
it's difficult too, though, because like so, and I say this in defense of Christians, just on the topic that you're talking about, because they don't. I give them a little credit because they don't know when to speak up and when not to,
and I agree because
because
I
you
don't
can be
know
like
either.
brutally attacked as well, just
Yeah,
for stating things.
yeah, and I don't either. I don't either. And I guess it's one of those where kind of like pick your battles really and pray. Like I pray more about stuff when I'm like, do I want to say something about this or not? But I also it's tough in this world. It really is tough because it's like when do you speak up? When do you let things go? And I am in control of what I'm teaching my kids and whether they um agree with what I'm teaching them, or they're like, no, I don't want to do that, whatever, that's on them. At least I can be like, well, I taught them this. Um, and there was something else I was going to say about thinking independently too. But I think I touched base on this as a little bit as well in another episode. Like, I think it's important for you to know what your kids are being taught in school, and then have them think independently and question things.
Yeah, and that's the reason that's the very important is because you don't want them to be influenced by these outside factors,
especially
if it's going to endanger them. And I'm sorry, but like mutilating a child is endangering. That's actually, I'm not sorry.
Yeah.
Mutilating a child is endangering them.
Right. I agree.
They can wait till they're 18 to do whatever they want.
Yeah, you're an adult. Do what you want. Oh, and another thing is one of the things that I don't like, and if people get upset about this, then they get upset. I just don't like. I get very defensive when it comes to the Lord. So, because He's the most important thing in my life. So, like, when people do that, for one, it makes me sad that they aren't comfortable enough in their own bodies and in themselves. And two, it makes me like, you are saying that God made a mistake, and He does not make mistakes. He made you exactly the way you were supposed to be.
Actually, I wrote down a quote, Jeremiah.
And I also feel like it's not your body.
Jeremiah 1:5. Before I formed thee in the belly, I knew thee.
So. Yeah. So and like, it's not. You can do whatever you want in your body. It's not going to change how you feel about your mind.
That's funny that I wrote that down and you mentioned
that is
along that.
Mind-boggling. And also go along with like, okay, somebody who's obese and loses a bunch of weight, and they still like have self-esteem issues, or they have personality issues or whatever. That goes to show, like, you can change your body however you want, but if there's something going on in your mind that's not well, it's not going to do anything for you. So that's.
And we'll move. Actually, this will bring us, since we're already talking about faith, this will bring us right into faith, morals, and everyday character building. And I am so happy we get to talk about this because faith and morals is like one of my favorite conversations. And I just saw a video yesterday that was based on it. And the reason it is one of my favorite conversations is because I'm so interested in that balance and that relationship between faith and morality. And I love debating people on it. I love talking about it because I don't care what anybody says. You need an absolute, you have to have faith in something that's grounded. You need a foundation in order to have morals that make sense. You need an absolute for your morals to make sense, an objective morality. So, and what I mean by that is you can't have objective morality without God. And there are a lot of people who follow that humanist view of moral relativism, where they're starting to get into thinking that, and I'm gonna relate this to the kids as well, but I just want to go off on a tirade real quick. But they think that man can create their own morals, and the problem in that thinking is that if I create my own moral spectrum and she creates her own moral spectrum and there is no God, there's nothing to say and nobody to say that mine are right and hers are wrong, or vice versa. So you end up with a conundrum, a paradox almost, of both of us are both right while also both being wrong, if that makes sense to anybody. But it's the truth, because it's all subjective. So we can both be right, we can both be wrong.
Sorry, I was looking ahead.
Oh, sorry, she's writing notes looking ahead. I thought that she was writing something on something that she wanted to state in on this. But it was an interview, or it was a debate between two guys, and I loved it because I know so many and people get so mad about this too. I don't know why Jesus makes you so angry. Don't be so angry. Just relax and calm down. It is. And it's because it's the devil and the demons, and they don't want you to accept Jesus. So the minute Jesus' name is spoken, like I'm speaking it right now, the demon inside of these people immediately goes like, oh no, because fear, because they're afraid of Jesus, of the one and only true Savior.
The King
of Kings. That's right. And this debate was going on, and this guy was justifying the unaliving of children and also the graping of children. He was justifying it, literally justifying it. And I said, this here is the perfect atheist view. And I'm hoping that someone who's atheist sees this or listens to this or anything like that. And again, guys, we'll go back into also, feel free to, sorry, I wanted to read Dan's comment if you wanted to speak on this quick.
Yeah. So what, to like and share and all that?
Yep.
So if you just to follow up again, we have an email address that you can send comments or discussions to tolpodcast15@gmail.com.
Yeah, so if you're an atheist, feel free to comment and send us an email.
We have an actual TikTok account for the podcast. We need 50 followers to go live there. So follow if you don't, share it with your friends. It is together_out loud. And same with
that's on Instagram,
YouTube,
that's on TikTok, that's on YouTube, and it's on Spotify.
Yep.
But to continue where I was going, so that's why, yeah. So if you're an atheist, feel free to join in on the chat. Feel free to contact us in any way. You can even DM us because you can't. This guy specifically was justifying those, and I feel like that's an openly atheistic view. And I actually listen and I respect that and I give credit to that guy. I was like, listen, I can respect that. The reason I can respect that is the man stood on business. While I don't agree with him at all whatsoever, because I don't think you should victimize children in any way. What's the quote about a millstone hanging around his neck? I don't know the full quote, but Matthew 18:6. But whoso shall ever offend one of these little ones, that believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck and that he would drown in the depth of the sea. Sorry. And so what that verse means, that is Jesus himself speaking, that is that you don't hurt children. And if you do hurt children, it is better for you to never have lived or to hang a millstone around your neck and drown you, and you can go swim with the fishes.
So we should be doing that for people in the e-files.
Yeah, so we should be doing that for people in the e-files as well. Another fact, not even an opinion, that's a fact. But back to what this guy was saying, the reason I can respect him is he stands on business. You can be an atheist, but stand on business. You don't get to steal morality from God. That's just my opinion. You don't get to do that. Sorry. You can't say a lot of people that I've had debates with, they'll bring it into, well, it's because we have a collective morality. Oh, that's great. Perfect. I really like that you said that. Okay, so what if the collective morality all of a sudden decides that raping women is okay? All of the population's dying off and we're dwindling and we're about to cease to exist. Is it then okay for the men to come together and be like, we need to do something about this? So let's say it's morally right now. You have to be very careful with the things that you speak about and the things that you think about in a matter of it being subjective, because anybody can make the rules then. And also you're not very far away from getting to back into a survival of the fittest and the strongest live. So that's why it has to be based in something. It has to be based in an absolute. And I get very emotional on this topic and I get very, very spicy and heated up because
he loves Jesus.
Yes. One, I love Jesus. And two, every single person I talked to and every single person that was in those comments, none of them would answer it. When I would say, where do you get your morals from then? Feel free. Yeah, because the funny part is the very first thing they do is they insult me. They immediately go to, oh, here goes another dumb Jesus freak, dumb idiot guy who believes God is real, sky daddy. You hear that all the time. So I immediately react with calmness and like, okay, so feel free. Yeah, share where you get your morals from then. Enlighten me. Educate this poor uneducated soul. God bless. Oh, poor guy. He's so dumb. He's just a big stupid dummy. I might get flagged for saying dumb. I'm calling myself dumb though. But feel free. None of them answer it. They don't ever answer it. They just go off into some other tangent of all of the things that are wrong with the Bible. And that's dangerous too. Like the one guy agreed with me. He was like, yeah, so he mentioned how the things that God did with Noah and the flood and the bear mauling the children. And he mentioned that. So I mentioned, okay, well, these people in the e-files, do you think that they might deserve a flood or a bear mauling a child? And he responded with, yeah, of course they do. And I'm like, so wait a minute. So you're now better than God. So now you should be able to choose where the punishments are. Do you
Mhm.
see the danger in that? Because if you then can choose where the punishments are and who deserves to be punished, that means
It's
Johnny,
subjective.
yeah, it's subjective. Johnny down the street can choose that too. Or Billy can choose like nobody should be punished. They should be able to do these things, these grotesque, awful things to the children because it's subjective. Because to them it's right, and maybe it is, you know. And I would actually argue that they're right. Maybe without God, maybe it is.
Going back to
Disgusting.
what
Sorry.
you said, you mentioned how somebody commented that the Bible was just something that man created to keep us all in line or whatever. But yeah, those same people are the ones that follow what the government tells you to do. So what's the difference? Why can't I follow my Bible? You're following the government. That was
Well, they'll mention that too.
I mean,
They'll mention laws. Like sometimes people will be like,
which
"Oh,
where
because
did they
it's
come
against
from?
law." Okay, so you're even more of a coward. So you won't do these things because some other random Joe Schmo decided that you shouldn't.
Where did those laws come from? The Ten Commandments.
Yes. Well, yeah, that too. They don't.
How do I explain
They
that?
don't like that though because they
Of
like
course
to
not.
say. So they'll also bring up things that aren't written in the Bible that are like nowadays things that are relevant to today. And it's like, yeah, that's why God gave us the Holy Spirit so that we have discernment to decide right from wrong, even in things that start to come up in the future that's past the Bible's date. Because Lord knows, Satan isn't going to stop coming up with and inventing new sins.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, and the reason why we are both so passionate about it is because of what Jesus has done for us and in our lives. I've told him before, like, I don't really remember anybody.
He shed his blood for us.
Yes.
For you. Everybody watching this.
None of us deserve it. None.
He did this for all of us.
Even the ones who don't believe.
And I even related that to, this is a pretty fun theory that I have. I said to her, I was like, you think about it. Look back at all of history where they were sacrificing animals, sacrificing humans, sacrificing animals, sacrificing humans. And I look at it and it all makes so much sense. It just comes so full circle and it comes together so completely that God was like, listen, we're done. We're done with that. Here he is, the last sacrifice, the last one you'll ever need. And his blood is sufficient for everybody throughout all of time, past, present, and future. It's sufficient for everyone. And you'll never have to do this again. You don't have to do these things that you're doing to children. You don't have to do these things that you're doing even to animals, because his blood is sufficient in cleansing everyone and taking care of all of it. No more sacrifices need to be made. And it's just a gift. You just have to accept it. You just have to be like, thank you. Super easy. It's the easiest thing you can do. And it gives me chills when I think about it, because it's just so beautiful. I mean, it's beautiful and it's terrible. And it's terrible because it's sad to me that God had to do something that was so devastating, so painful, so devastating. Sorry. The things that our Lord and Savior had to go through is awful and terrible and devastating. So the fact that people cannot accept it as a free gift, even though it's just willingly given, that's another thing. It was willingly given. When all of these other sacrifices happen, they're taken. It's, I'm going to take from you. I'm going to take this because I want to appease Baal or Moloch or whatever, whoever you're appeasing, yourself, really. It was all taken. But Jesus did it willingly. He gave it. He said, no. You don't have to take it. I'm giving it to you. So, sorry.
That's good. But
I get emotional over it. I love Jesus. And I'm not sorry. I'm sorry because my difficulty talking, because sometimes my voice starts to get that stutter and stuff, and I get difficult. It's difficult for me to speak. And also I'm sorry because we are going off topic. But I'm not sorry in speaking up for my Lord and Savior. And another thing that we actually spoke about on the walk today, Jesus is the only person that people want you to turn away from.
Yeah.
I don't ever hear people saying turn away from Islam or turn away from Judaism, turn away from this. It's funny to me that everybody is always like, no Jesus. They don't say no to anybody else, but Jesus, they're like, no to him.
They have demons.
Shiva or whatever else they have, Zeus, whatever. That's all fine. You can learn Greek mythology in a school book, but no Jesus, no, none.
not even as a historic, is not even as a historical figure do they learn about Jesus in school anymore, which he's in other books as a historical figure. So even if you don't want to believe that he is Lord and the Son of God and is Lord in the flesh, um, he was a real person. So even if you want to believe like, oh, he was just a real person, even if you want to believe that he was crazy, whatever, you should at least be able to
Yeah, that's what
learn
Ben
about
Shapiro
him
thinks, that he
in
was like a crazy guy who went against the Romans and got
says the
unalived for his.
says the guy that has ancestors that would eat babies and or people who are eating babies, but whatever. Anyway, so faith, back to, we're on the subject of faith anyway, but
Yeah, we are on faith, morals, and everyday
yeah,
character building.
I
That's why we're so sorry. That's why, at least for me, well, for both of us, that's why we're so adamant about instilling this faith in our children, because I don't want them to follow a humanist view. I don't want them to follow moral relativism.
It's so lonely.
It's scary too. It's terrifying. I don't know how you people aren't scared. I don't know how you're not terrified. Like when I have these conversations and these debates with these people, I don't know how you're not terrified at the fact that, like, yeah, that's your belief, that's your morality, but you have nothing to ground it in. How are you not terrified that, like, especially when you start to get into collectivism, where it's like, no, collectively as humans, we start to realize what is good and what is bad. I don't know how you're not terrified that you as a one person suddenly come up against 10 guys and they're all like, no. Morally, I should be able to take whatever you have because I'm giving you mercy by getting rid of you. And I don't know how that doesn't scare you. But continue. Sorry, back to the kids and why we instill our faith and morals and stuff so strongly in them.
One, at the times where I was most alone and wanted to give up, I still felt hope in the Lord. So I want that for the children, and I wish so bad that I had a close relationship with the Lord sooner.
Me too.
So that's why I want to instill that in them. And
mine was like come and go.
Yeah, and I feel like it would help them to I'm like I said, I'm about positivity. I'm very much about positivity, and I feel like it would help them to be more positive and have a more positive life.
And also we're coming down off that passionate moment. I'm sorry. So now everything's like mellowed out, and it's like, okay, where do we go?
So like I want them to trust even when things, I don't want them to have fear. And how many times is that in the Bible? 365. Do not be afraid.
For each day.
And so I remind that and it's helped me so much to like not be afraid of stuff that I can't control and not be worried so much. Because whatever happens, I have Jesus no matter what. I have Jesus. And so I want the kids to have that too, because there are going to be moments in their lives, especially when they're teenagers, which is a really hard time in somebody's life. I want them to have that hope in, because my biggest fear is my kids unaliving themselves, and I'm going to control that as much as I can. And I feel like teaching them about the Lord and teaching them that they have Jesus no matter what, even if they feel like they have nobody else.
Yeah, because he's the only cure to my nihilism.
Yeah, and so, and he's, for me, like I've said, the more I pray, and sometimes I'll feel like I'm praying about dumb stuff, but like the more I pray, the more I see that my prayers are answered. And they might be not answered in the literal way that I wanted or expected, but like it's one of those things where like, I see what you did there. So it's just, I don't know. I feel sad. I feel more sad for the people who are like that, who get so angry about Jesus. It's like, why? If you feel like it's just a belief, or it's not true, and it's just like somebody that believes in something, why do you get so angry? Why?
Yeah, then it shouldn't affect you at all.
I don't get angry at people who believe in Allah or believe in the different gods of Hinduism. Like I don't get angry at
me neither. I get sad.
And I hope that they still somehow find Jesus, or I still hope that they still have a chance even after they pass.
Yeah, I agree with that as well.
Yeah, so
like I agree that maybe I'm in some way hope that Jesus will be like, you know what, this person was trying their best. they're trying their best, at least, like, especially for the people who have like a religion where it's based in something moral,
Yeah.
because it's nice that they're at least trying, because that's what we should do. We should at least be trying. That's another danger of like the moral relativism, is like, that's not even trying. It's just like, you should be able to lead whatever hedonistic lifestyle and just take whatever you want and do whatever you want. It's sad. It's a sad way of living. And that's why I get sad even in those debates with those people, because when I speak to you about these morals, I don't do it because anything here on earth even matters. I don't care. None of this even matters. I do it because I want you to find that salvation. I want you to find that joy and that peace that is in Jesus Christ himself. And it is the only joy and peace you'll find. And that's not, also, it's not a magic genie. It's not a magic lamp that you rub. It doesn't make your life perfect. Life is still going to have ups and downs, pros and cons, positives and negatives.
And you still have accountability too.
Yes, and great times and dark times. But also this is actually what shows that God and Jesus exist outside of world, time, all of that, is because you have good and you have bad, and then you have Jesus. And that's it. Like, he exists outside of that good and bad. Mm-hmm. He exists outside of all of it.
Well, and also having that faith and believing in the Lord, that makes like disappointments on their makes it what's the word I'm looking for? Like
less devastating?
Yeah. So I used to I was very jealous and envious of people growing up. I really was. And but I would get disappointed if I'm disappointed in something. It would be almost the end of the world. But as my faith has gotten stronger, it's like I'm very much like, what? Okay, whatever. And it's not that I don't care. It's that like I'm reminded that doesn't even matter. Like, it doesn't even matter. And so I feel like people would be less angry, less outraged. At least research in an objective way. I just don't understand the outrage of it. I really don't. I'm not like forcing you to believe in Jesus, but at least like educate yourselves, and also know that like many teachings and stuff from other religions came from Jesus. I've read that. I think it was The Case for Christ, I think, is the book that I read. He has so much evidence, which this person was atheist when he started writing this book. So much evidence, which I
because he went into the book, right? Because he wanted to disprove Jesus.
Yes, he wanted to disprove,
and ended up becoming a believer.
Yes, every time that he had thought that he was like, oh, I'm going to get him with this, I'm going to get him with this, he found evidence to disprove himself, and so he became
perfect science,
a believer. And it's funny. I like it because of the fact that like it's science. He tried to find scientific proof that Jesus is not the Son of God, but he couldn't find that proof. Instead, he found proof that he is the Son of God. So yeah, the case for Christ is what the book is called. I'm 99% sure. So whether you're a believer, not a believer, read that book.
And I'll even go into like another scary part is like the faith, morals, and everyday character building of children. There are people who don't want us to be able to teach the Bible to our children. Yeah. How scary is that? Like, they're like, we'd be better off without religion, and no, you should not be able to teach those things to your children. That's scary. It's
that is scary. And
because I want my kids to be good people. Now, I think that it can, I think it can go wrong too, though, because I think you need a really good balance of it. Mm-hmm. You really do, because I think that you can teach it in a perspective of fear too. I feel like that's how I was taught the Bible when I was young. And yeah, hell's scary and it's real. So yeah, you should be afraid of that. But here's the thing, because I was so overwhelmed with that thought of like not going to hell that I didn't focus a lot on Jesus like the way I do now in my life. In that now I don't worry about hell. Do you know why? Because I have Jesus. I don't worry about it. Now I worry about it for other people. I don't want other people to go there because it's going to be terrible. It's going to be terrible and nobody should go there. But I'm trying to think of how I want to word this. I just am more dedicated on like Jesus Christ is enough. And like that's kind of how we're teaching our kids that side of it more. Now there is the danger of hell, but you're gonna sin. That's like Romans says, everyone is a sinner. There is not one righteous, no, not one. So everybody sins. But Jesus Christ's blood is enough to cleanse you of your sins and for salvation. He's the way, the truth, and the life. And the only way to the Father is through him. But the greatest part is all you got to do is seek him. All you got to do is seek him out. And he's there. And how glorious of a day is that going to be when it finally ends and you get to see his beautiful face and see him and get to, I mean, for me, even if he doesn't say, well done, servant, he can be like, nah, you did all right. And I'll be like, yes. Jesus said I did all right.
Jesus is talking to me.
Or even if he just shakes his head like, oh, this guy, come on. I'll be like, yay. I'll be like an excited puppy following him. Here we go. Where are we going? What are we going to do? Where are we going? And I want everybody to feel that joy.
And I say this
especially, sorry, one more thing before you continue on that. Especially the people that I feel who try their best to have a great moral compass. That makes me the most sad. Like the people, like the guy who was debating, who was like, it's okay to unalive children and rape them. I'm not as upset about the fact that he might go to hell. But like the people who have like good morals and like good groundwork, I'm like, man, it's so sad because you're just literally one gift away. You're one gift away, God.
Yeah, I always say that if I'm wrong, I don't have anything to lose. But if you're wrong, you have everything to lose. So.
And I'm going to leave you guys with a great Cliff Connectley quote. I heard him when he was debating, and I heard him say this, and I was like, I really like that. And he said, he always finds it like almost comical that like people will say that it's crazy that he believes in this miracle of God and stuff. And he says, for me to believe in God, I only have to believe in one miracle, and that is the miracle of God. I only have to believe in that one miracle, that God exists. But for you to be atheist, you have to believe everything's a miracle. You have to believe that it all came from dust. That dust being there was a miracle. All of the planets coming out of space. Space itself is a miracle, along with the planets. And also, like, for instance, look at it this way. Look at this house that we live in. Are you doing that because of them?
Yeah, so I apologize if you're hearing.
Yeah, if you guys can hear that, they're going crazy upstairs. But look at this house that we live in. The material for the house all of that was a miracle. The people building it was all a miracle. Like everything, every single thing, all the way down to the atom has to be a miracle. So you'd rather believe in countless miracles than one miracle. But
that's good.
They're going nuts up there.
Yeah. So we're probably.
But yeah, that's it for this episode. We thank you guys for joining, and we love you guys, and we're so grateful and grateful and thankful for everyone who listens, everyone who joins in, chimes in. Again, going back to it all, please subscribe, please follow, please like it on TikTok, Spotify, Instagram, YouTube. Together Out Loud, and feel free to reach us at TOLpodcast15@gmail.com. And if you have anything else to add, sorry.
I don't. I was looking at the notes I'm not sure where you want to go next week with it, because these notes are talking about like little separate segments, or we can jump into this one instead.
I was even saying, so we'll get back to you guys. You'll get to see what we're gonna do, because I wouldn't even mind, because Dan joined in again. I wouldn't even mind DMing him and seeing if he's available Saturday, at what time he would be available, and just doing a full-on interview.
Okay, yeah, because we also have basketball game next week, so we are not sure what time
that will be over. Yeah, because it's playoffs.
Hopefully.
So I'm gonna reach out to him. We'll reach out to Dan. He has a wife who's I think originally from the Philippines, so I think that would be an exciting interview to just
about, like,
to get the different cultures and the different beliefs and just things that go on in their marriage and their lives. And yeah, I would really like that. Maybe even his upbringing and stuff like that. I would love that. So okay. I'm going to reach out to him, and hopefully on the next one, you guys will get to see us interviewing someone else, and you'll get to see and hear that.
Happy Valentine's Day. Jesus loves you.
Yes.
Whether you like it or not.
Yes. And Jesus is the King of Kings. God bless. See you guys later.
Bye.